Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Saints are not expected to use the franchise tag on safety Marcus Williams. The deadline to make that decision is tomorrow for teams to decide if they're going to use the franchise tag. Worth reminding that the Saints did tag Marcus Williams this season, so he was paid $10.6 million this year. If they were to use the cap on him again in 2022, it would cost the team more than $12 million. That's probably not a great option for New Orleans, as you know. The Saints' salary cap situation has been oft discussed, so a one-year deal for Marcus Williams at that price probably isn't what they're looking for. When you look at where they are right now with respect to the cap, the Saints are an estimated $42 million over the cap. So if you were to tag Marcus Williams, you're talking about a $12 million price tag on Williams for this season. The more palatable idea for the Saints would be to sign Marcus Williams to a long-term deal where he could have a team-friendly number in year one. You give him a bigger signing bonus, it's a lower cap number, bigger cap number in future years, something the Saints do often. I am going to be most interested, though, to be very clear, the Saints love Marcus Williams. They want him back, as evidenced by the fact that they franchise tagged him last year. Shows the commitment they have to him as a player and what he means to this team in the defensive secondary. And I agree. There's fan chatter about Marcus Williams, mostly which all stems from the Minneapolis Miracle and people who've never forgotten that, or some of the notable whiffs. But his steady, consistent play often goes overlooked by many fans. But he's been a spectacular safety, which is why the market is going to command for him what it will. And this is the thing that is going to be most interesting to watch with Marcus Williams. What is the market going to bear? Jamal Adams is the highest paid safety in the NFL. He makes $17.5 million a year. Harrison Smith is getting $16 million a year. Justin Simmons, $15.2. Budda Baker, $14.7. Eddie Jackson, $14.6. Kevin Byard, $14.1. Tyrann Mathieu is making $14 this year with the Chiefs. Landon Collins at $14. Then you have a dip to Jesse Bates at $12.9. Devin McCourty at $11.5. John Johnson at $11.25. Marcus May with the Jets at $10.6. A lot of numbers, I get it. But the point being, you're going to see Marcus Williams bumped into that group that's making 14 and above. That Jamal Adams, Harrison Smith, Justin Simmons, Budda Baker, Eddie Jackson. I mean, Budda Baker and Eddie Jackson, like they had all set the market at 14, and then you've seen Simmons and Smith and Adams all go above that. The question is, will Marcus Williams be the highest paid safety in the NFL? Probably not, but you better well believe he's going to be in that number somewhere around Harrison Smith at $16 million a year, Simmons at $15,250. It's going to be somewhere in that mix with those guys. I mean, that's where he's going to find himself. If the Saints don't pay it, someone else will. The hope, if you're a Saints fan, is not that Marcus Williams is going to give you a hometown discount, but that he wants to be in New Orleans. Because if he wants to be in New Orleans and he and his agent have a number in mind and the Saints are willing to make that work, awesome. Then you re-sign him. He never hits free agency, and you've got Marcus Williams locked up for another 5-6 years, whatever it may be. He's 25 years old. You could give him a 7-year contract if that's what he wants. I'm okay paying Marcus Williams till he's 32. He's 25. He's in his physical prime and will be for some time. So I'm okay committing to Marcus Williams. But if Marcus Williams hits free agency, then he's gone. You're not going to be able to outbid. If it's just who is the highest bidder, that's not going to be the New Orleans Saints. It can't be because of their cap situation. So if he goes into free agency then his days as a Saint are done. And then if you're the Saints, you're looking around at what might be next. We have talked, though, about when you look at the Saints salary cap and who might be cap casualties. I know that I have mentioned Malcolm Jenkins. Malcolm has an $11 million cap number this year, 11.7. His dead cap number is $7.9 million. So they could save $4 million against the cap if they were to cut Malcolm Jenkins. I don't know necessarily that that's the route they're going to go. It's one of the possibilities. They may not need to, but it's one of the possibilities. But if one of those guys, either Malcolm Jenkins or Marcus Williams, for whatever reason, if one of them is not back in New Orleans, boy, it'd be a lot of fun to see Tyrann Mathieu in the black and gold. And this was interesting. There's an Instagram account, The Saint Zone. They did a Photoshop edit of Tyrann in a Saints uniform, and it looks pretty sweet. But what's of greater importance there is that if you look at the bottom, Tyrann Mathieu actually commented on the edit with like 2 fire emojis from his Instagram. There was Tyrann Mathieu's Instagram account. So in some respects, Tyrann kind of is endorsing that possibility of coming home. And I know when Tyrann was just coming out of LSU, there was this great concern about him ending up in New Orleans, back running in the same circles, the bad guys that he was around that put him in compromising situations that damn near cost him his career. Now 10 years removed, a guy who's been a Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee, a guy who has completely changed his life, who's now a husband and a father. Like, I don't worry about that. I don't worry about Tyrann coming back to New Orleans and getting mixed up in the wrong crowd again. He's just in a different place completely in his life than he was a decade ago. So while going to Arizona with Pat Pete back in 2012, 2013 was probably the best thing for him, getting far, far away and having good influences around him in a good organization, I would have no problem with Tyrann coming back this way at this point in his career. And he's still playing at a Pro Bowl, if not all pro level. Kansas City just has to make a decision about a guy in his early 30s and what they want to commit financially to him. And if Tyrann and the Chiefs don't see eye to eye on a contract, well, that's just the nature of the business. It's not that they wouldn't love to have him on their team as a player, but sometimes that happens. I mean, the Saints were in that situation last year with Trey Hendrickson. They would have loved to have re-signed Trey Hendrickson. Couldn't afford him. So he went and signed a big deal with Cincinnati, and congrats to him. This could be an opportunity for New Orleans to bring Tyrann back closer to home. In what role? Don't know. I mean, Chauncey Garner-Johnson obviously fills that nickel safety role, which Tyrann could also play exceptionally well. We've talked about hypotheticals where if maybe you do a deal for a Russell Wilson, it costs you picks and a player. I mean, you could look at the short list of players that would be attractive to a trade partner. And the ones that financially would make the most sense would be a guy like Chauncey Garner-Johnson or Eric McCoy. So could you do a deal where you set picks and I'd be devastated, by the way, if that happened. I love Chauncey Garner-Johnson. He's a guy I've told you so many times. Hated him at Florida. Loathed playing against him. Love him on my team. The guy that will cross his arms and walk right up to Tom Brady and stare him in the face cold. I love that guy. I want him on my team. But if that's part of the trade capital that would take to get a quarterback and there's an option like Tyrann, I'd totally be down for it. Safety, it might not be at the top of the list of positions that Saints fans are looking at and considering this offseason. Quarterback's so important. Obviously, they got to add a receiver. Tight end is massively important as well. Safety's on that list because you got 2 guys who are really good in tandem, but either of which it's theoretical that they could be gone after this season. So, maybe just wishful thinking, want to see Tyrann in the black and gold. That'd be awesome. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.